My sister is dating the boy who bullied me at school. Mike and his group of friends bullied me throughout high school. I never told anyone, the teachers sometimes called them out but they didn't do anything about it. Mike's bullying never stopped until I graduated high school. I'm in college now. My sister has been talking for months about her new boyfriend, about how well he treats her and takes care of her, that he is quite respectful, that he is affectionate, that he takes her to nice places, etc. On Thursday, my sister took her boyfriend to my parents' house where she would formally introduce him to us, and when she arrived she introduced Mike. I was frozen and scared, and when I saw him I peed myself. My parents were worried as was my sister. They took me to my parents' room and I simply told them that I drank too much water and couldn't hold it anymore. No one was convinced, but since they had a guess they put the matter aside. My parents eventually really liked Mike, they joked around and everything. I was quiet and tense. Mike harassed a lot of guys, but I was the only woman he harassed. He took my food, my money, my books, he hit me and left several bruises all over my body. But the last year of high school was the worst. Where I studied had several playgrounds and fields. It is a fairly large school, one of the two fields connected to a small forest that, when crossed, led to a street. No one could get in there, but they never bothered to put up a fence. Whenever I wanted to be alone or not be harassed I went to that forest. Mike and one of his friends followed me. After taking my things the friend took me from behind and made me kneel and Mike took out his member and forced me to give him oral. I think I even swallowed my own vomit. Everything about that day is quite confusing. Every time I think about it it seems more like it was my imagination and not a memory, and it really makes me question if it was real. I can't defend myself, I'm too thin and I don't have the strength. I am 167 and weigh about 46 kilograms. After that incident, Mike's bullying lessened but not completely. I haven't talked to anyone about this. Should I do it? It's been 3 years since I entered university. What if no one believes me? Should I get over it and move on? I don't live with my parents. Since I entered a public university they pay me the rent for my apartment. Also my sister has been very happy since she dates him. She was engaged and she discovered that she was being unfaithful. She had not dated anyone until now that she is dating Mike. Comment. I'm sorry but if I read this right, he raped you, used violence to force you to perform oral sex. You should absolutely tell your family and your sister, and maybe the police, although because it was long ago it might be hard to get evidence and justice. Man, oh man, I'm really sorry for what you went through. My gut feeling is A, you need to talk about this, and B, I think you need to sit your family down at the kitchen table and tell them everything in detail. This guy didn't just bully you, he physically abused and raped you. You need to tell your sister and parents before he gets too chummy with the rest of the family. For all you know, he's only dating your sister so he can have free access to you again and you won't be able to escape it. I realize that this rubbish human has caused you enough pain. Please don't let it go further without advocating for yourself. Tell your sister and parents together about everything. Tell them that you wish your sister the best, but you will not be able to interact with her or any of your family when Mike is around because of X, Y, and Z. Be honest, do not try to sugarcoat any of what he has done. Send your sister and parents this link if that's easiest, but they need to know so that either they can prioritize you and this bloke can pound sand, or they can prioritize him and you can cut them out with a clean conscience because they're similarly rubbish. Next story 2. My husband has checked out of our marriage and started an emotional affair online. My husband and I have been married for 5 years, together for 10 and share a 2-year-old son. My husband asked for an open marriage about 3 months ago and I said no, said my reasonings. I'm just overall not comfortable with it, and to me it's just asking permission to cheat. This was dropped, and hasn't been brought back up. I did suggest marriage counseling and it was declined, because he doesn't need to tell some stranger his feelings. My husband works full-time, in a stressful job with long hours. I work full-time, stay at home full-time providing care to our son, take him to therapy twice a week, do all the cleaning, laundry, and cooking. I'm often met with responses like, "Oh good, you actually did something," and "all you do is watch TV all day," among others. My husband's relationship with our son I would describe like the occasional uncle. My child will occasionally sit next to him, but most of the time will cry anytime he gets too close. They don't sit on the floor to play, but he will taking him to the playground/ball field to run with him. He does provide greatly to the financial support of him, and never questions why I buy him the things he needs or wants. The issue. My husband left open his OnlyFans account on my side of the bed and fell asleep messaging a girl, who from what I could see have been talking for months. From what I see they've never physically met up, but he did use the words "I love you, I can't wait till we can be together." He is also sending her money regularly. I've never been against my husband looking at porn, but this is an emotional affair with some chick. I've always trusted my husband in the past, and with his job he can be gone for long periods of time. Our marriage was built on trust. How would you feel about this? He doesn't know I know, and I need to think about how I want to move forward from this. Suggestions. Comnet. As soon as humanly possible I'd suggest to leave. Get your stuff all situated. This is horrible behavior, and even worse that you both have a kid together. Very sorry you have to go through this. There is no such thing as staying for the kids that ends well. Your husband doesn't want to be there. He wants a maid and cook. If you're in the US, most attorneys will give you a free consult and estimate on cost. Start putting away money, and get your things in order. Then serve him paperwork. Do not tell him anything. It sounds like your husband has no real interest in being a father to his son. Also, the open marriage thing? I suspect he had someone in mind when he asked, so I wouldn't just assume that he has never physically cheated, at least to some degree. If you are really conflicted, you should sit down and work out what the difference would be with you as a single parent and him being the part-time uncle who takes him to the park sometimes and pays child support, versus what you have now, where he still acts like the part-time uncle, and financially supports his child but also models how completely checked out of this family he is. Say that after he drains y'all's bank account. Your husband very clearly has one foot out the door and minimal attachment to being a parent. This means he is a lot more likely to do things like take off, taking his money with him. Every day on the sub there are posts from stay-at-home mothers who are left in extremely crappy situations when their husband, who is the sole source of income, takes off. The one good thing here is that your husband is not sneaky and is giving blindingly obvious warning signs. You need a lawyer. Even if it doesn't go anywhere for him, he thinks it is going to and has checked out of your marriage. You need to protect yourself and your assets, and you also deserve more from a spouse and partner. This man is prioritizing his online fantasy relationship that is he paying to have over developing a bond with his own child and trying to maintain his marriage. He is benefiting from you doing all the domestic work and child care and wants to continue with this arrangement so he can have the fun parts of a relationship without the reality of a relationship. You are being used and you deserve a lot better than this. I suspect if you leave you will be far better off and eventually find a partner who prioritizes the connection with you, while he will be faced with the harsh reality of losing his family for a pretend relationship and having to do his own cooking and cleaning. First, get a good lawyer. If for no other reason to know all your options and to protect yourself and your child. If you are going to move to another state/country, I'd suggest you ask the lawyer the best path to take with that. Is the money he is sending from a joint account or posted to a joint credit card? If so, I'd determine how much has gone out the door thus far. If you have any funds set up for your son, check those too. Request a free credit report from each of the 3 bureaus and review all of them. If you see any credit accounts that you didn't sign for, report them as suspect. I'd also suggest you consider locking your credit. It won't do much as applies to existing accounts, but it will prevent new ones that require a credit check. Make sure you keep and secure the information given to you when you lock with each of the 3 bureaus, as you will need it to unlock your credit when you request new credit. They can do it for X days then relock automatically. Also, if don't already have, I'd suggest considering opening an account in just your name. Change any auto deposits from you to the new account. After confirming the auto deposits are working, then move any money that is yours deposited in the joint account, to the new account. Do not just empty joint accounts, and don't try to hide the new one as an asset during the divorce. Pissing off the judge doesn't help anyone's cause. Whether you divorce or not, at least protect your assets. Take copies of the evidence and save it somewhere safe. Start tracking down the payments that he has made. Secure all of the important documents and copies of his tax returns, pension, savings, and investments. Then, go and make appointments with several divorce attorneys. Give them the evidence of his cheating and his spending on of. Ask what divorce looks like for you in relation to custody, child support, and alimony. Also, ask about a post-nup with an infidelity clause. Once you have all of the information, sit your husband down and tell him that you know about his affair. Tell him that he either ends it, cancels his subscription to of, and deletes the app. He also needs to have a full STD screening done, give you the full amount that he spent on so that you can put that money into an account in your own name. He needs to agree to an open phone and electronics policy and sign the post-nup. Or he can pack a bag and get out, and you will have him served with divorce papers. You and your children deserve better.